Right. We're going to have to enjoy this game against Bournemouth because after this game, it's going to be almost a month until you see Man United play again. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Preview to Bournemouth on Friday. And it certainly is a game where we cannot drop points. Not even a draw would be good. We need to be consistent and continue winning. That is the only way we're going to keep Aston Villa and the rest of the chasing pack at bay. Now, if you do remember, I spoke about Andoni Iraola as Bournemouth's manager, potentially becoming Man United's permanent manager. He is on the list. I spoke about him in detail in terms of his style of play, in terms of his history as a manager before he got to Bournemouth. But he has done well with Bournemouth. They are 10th in the table and they have four successive draws on the spin that they are dealing with. So their form is not the greatest, but it's also not the worst. They are able to get something out of these games. They're able to always find a way to get a result. So there is character. And let's be real, them losing Antoine Semenyo to City certainly has halted their attack. It has made them a bit weaker, but they do still have players that can cause you problems. Up front, Evan Nielsen, we know he is a goal threat. You know the likes of Krupi, Tavernier on the right hand side, the player that they most recently signed in January, Ryan from Brazil. That certainly, they do have players, as I said, that can cause you problems. You remember the 4-4 draw at Old Trafford? We were conceding goals due to mistakes. We let gaps open up, and of course, Bournemouth punished us, and that was under Ruben Amorim. Yes, that is a factor. However, I don't want to look at this game in terms of it's straightforward. We should get a win. That is the mentality that always seems to buckle us. When we won, we ended up having to play West Ham and we didn't play so well. We dropped points. And that was a game that was quick in succession after the Crystal Palace win. Then Newcastle came along and they were also a game that we had to play quickly in quick succession and we lost that game. Now, whether it's down to fitness because our players are more used to playing one game a week, whether it's down to the mentality of the players that some of them cannot play two games in quick succession. But again, this Friday, we'll have that same particular issue that rises. And how will Michael Carrick approach this? Because Bournemouth are going to be up for it. They are playing at home. They know what they need to do. They still have aspirations of European football, so they will want to get all 3 points, not just try and get the draw. They are a team that's going to be a bit tricky for us. And Michael Carrick certainly needs to find a way to keep Bournemouth out, but also find a way to break them down. Because Iriola will want his team to press. He will want his team to be high energy in terms of trying to get the ball when we are trying to play out from the back. And if we do decide to go long, they are a team that can sit in a mid to low block and basically nullify that particular tactic that we would want to deploy. So it's going to be interesting for Michael Carrick. It's another opportunity to see, can he pick the right team and have the right tactics in order to get the 3 points that we need, because it's a game in quick succession. That certainly has been a problem for us this season. I don't necessarily think that there are players in the team that cannot play two games in quick succession. I just think that it's down to a mentality situation. These are games that you need to get yourself up for. The same way you perform against Manchester City, Arsenal, etc. It's the same energy and performance that you need to have when you play a Bournemouth, when you play a Newcastle, when you play a Nottingham Forest, Wolves. The same performance must be there. The standard must remain the same. That is the only way consistency can become a factor, and then you start getting that proper feeling of winning games. Michael Carrick having 7 wins in 9 games so far is good. Could he make it 8 out of 10 with a win against Bournemouth? That certainly will be something that will be very, very good in terms of putting his name at the top of the list to be permanent Man United manager. Because if we get Champions League football, because of Michael Carrick and what he has done since he came in as interim, it would be difficult to not give him the job full time. The only person I think that can probably take over is a Luis Enrique based on his CV alone and what he has won. There isn't anyone else out there right now that I think can do better than Michael Carrick. But again, these are things that will still need to be seen as time goes on. Now, Michael Carrick for this game, we've seen he doesn't like to really change his team. He's not very flexible when it comes to chopping and changing his starting 11. So he most likely will go with the same team. But again, I would make two changes to the team that played right over the weekend. He needs to go with Lomans in goal, of course. Mazarawi should come in at right back because Delo didn't have his best game most recently. So I think he needs to come in at right back in order to bring about stability and also to perhaps eliminate and avoid the excuse of he cannot play 2 games a week. It's a bit of a mentality struggle. So let's bring in Mazarawi, who is more fresher, and certainly he can do what he does at right back. Maguire and Euro, I'm sure, I think will complete the back four. The midfield, of course, remains the same with Mainu, Casemiro, and Bruno. And I think in the second half, you might see Casemiro coming off due to, again, games in quick succession. And Casemiro doesn't have that tank in order to put out a double 90-minute performance. So Ugarte might come on in the second half in order to alleviate some of that fitness issue that he might have because of his age. Sesko needs to start up front for me in this game. That's the second change I would make. I would drop Mbumo, who has been a bit off the boil and I think does need a bit of a rest. When we did play against West Ham and Newcastle in those games midweek, he certainly wasn't at his best, especially since we played the game prior before that. So I would drop Mbumo to the bench, have Cunha on the left and Ahmad on the right hand side. We will still have the same energy in terms of pressing and closing down and being able to run in behind when Bournemouth do decide to press. And of course, Sesko gives us a focal point to play long balls to have the likes of Ahmad, Cunha, Bruno, etc. play off him as a link-up player. And of course, when we do cross the ball into the box, which is something we need to do after stretching their midfield, Sesko can be a very, very strong threat for us because we've seen what he can do when he comes on from the bench, when balls are played into the box, and when he starts, the same applies. He's very, very deadly with his movement and his clinical finishing. So the team should be that. However, I do doubt that Michael Carrick will do that, but let's see what happens come Friday. So this game needs to be a win. We can't draw or lose because it's going to completely kill any momentum we are trying to build. And again, Aston Villa could win and then they are back level on points with us. Same with Chelsea and Liverpool. They can become closer to us again. So we need to keep them at bay, as I said in the beginning of the video. But you let me know what you think about this game, how you think Michael Carrick will set up the team. And let me know what do you think of Michael Carrick thus far, because Friday will be his 10th game since coming in as interim, and then we can give a proper assessment to see where he is, where we are going, and is he the right man to take Manchester United forward permanently. Have a wonderful week till we see each other again soon in the next one. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching. If you want more content on Manchester United, like, share and subscribe.